Hello class, this is Chris. I wanted to do this video to give you some instructions on how to do the group analysis assignment. I looked at the other video that was posted before, and I figured it'd be good to do something that had a little bit more detail and can get you up and going in case you had any questions. So in this assignment, I hope that you're reading the instructions. It's really important. I went ahead and updated the instructions to emphasize that you're going to do a survey, and you're going to analyze the purpose of the survey is to analyze your communication style. And I think once you do the survey, it will begin to make sense to you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to look at the result of the survey and analyze it in context of the group that you selected. I put it specifically, it could be a group of your choice. I realize this is an online class, and I don't expect for you to do the survey with another student in this class. That'd be a little difficult. But I want you to think about groups that you belong to in your personal life. It could be a work group of coworkers. It could be a group of people that maybe you do a hobby with. Maybe it's a teammate. Maybe it's a family as a group. But you want to look at you want to analyze it within context of a group that you selected that you belong to. That's of your choice. Once you've done that, go ahead and do this survey. Okay, it looks like this. All right, it's a PDF file. All right, and there is, I believe, 80 questions. Right, and the way that questions are done is they're done in groups of two. So you can see the first group right here. It's two statements. I like action. Dealing with problems. I deal with problems in a systematic way. So once you approach that pair of questions, what you're going to do is you're going to circle the number of the statement in that pair that is most consistent with your beliefs or the way you interact. Okay, and you're going to go and select. You're going to do the same for each pair, if that makes sense. And then you're going to go through this entire first page, and it even goes on to the second page here. All right, and I think there's a total of 80 statements. Then what you do is once you have that done, go over to this third page, and it lists all the numbers on these rows. It hasn't broken out, and you go back and look at the ones that you circled, and you can see in here there's different lines. So there's one called action, the one below it is called process, third row is called people, and the fourth row is idea. You can see in the way I did the survey that I didn't have very many ones that I circled on the action line. But when I looked at my survey results, I did have quite a few that were from the process line. And then some of my responses, a lot of them were people-orientated ones. Then I had a few of idea. So you're going to go back again to your survey, look at the numbers of the ones that you circled. Then you're going to go to the third page, and you're going to find the numbers on this line. All right, I hope that makes sense. Some students get a little thrown off by that. So go through your survey, and then look at the third page. And on each line, try to identify and circle the one that you circled on, the number that you circled on the survey. Okay? It should tally to 40. Remember, each question was presented in pairs, and you selected from one from each pair. So you should only have a total of 40 responses. Then once you do it, you'll see, if you look at mine, the action line, I only got 5. The process line, I was able to get 11. People, I got 17. And idea, I got 7. That totaled to be 40. So your total should be 40. It doesn't have to be the same sequence as mine, but at the end of the day, it has to total 40. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your plots under action, process, people, and idea, and graph them. And I think the graph is actually pretty cool. I'll show you what my graph looks like. So I shaded in my graph. So I plotted it. So action, I scored a 5. So I put a dot right there. Process, I scored an 11. So I put a dot right there. Under people, I scored a 17. And under idea, I scored I think it was a 5. So this is what my graph looks like. And here's what my graph kind of tells me based on my personality type and my communication style. I'm not very action oriented. I'm not very idea oriented. But when it comes to how I deal with people and interact in my group communication style, you can see I'm very process based and I'm very people based. All right. Now, if you're wondering, like, what does a process or people person communicate like? Like, what are some of their characteristics? What are some of their traits? That's a good question. Flip on the other side of this page and you'll kind of see how it breaks it down. That's the third page. Actually, let me go back one. Sorry about that. If you look at, there you go. If you look at how it plotted, how you scored, right underneath it, it kind of tells you a little bit about each one. And I'm trying to hold it so you can see it. So if you are an action person, there's certain qualities that you have, and it says it right underneath here. So it says action people are results. They talk about results, responsibility, objectives, feedback, performance, experiences, productivity. They challenge other people, efficiency, achievements, moving ahead, change, and decisions. And these type of people are typically pragmatic, direct, impatient, decisive, quick, jumping from one thing to another, energetic, and they like to challenge other people. So these are the characteristics under a person who's action oriented. Obviously, looking at mine, that's not really my deal, and I honestly agree with these results because that's just not that's not my personality type. But I scored heavily under people. So under people, I talk about other people. Self-development, needs, sensitivity, motivation, awareness, teamwork, cooperation, communications, beliefs, feelings, values, team spirit, expectation, understanding, and relationships. And people like me are spontaneous, empathetic, warm, subjective, emotional, perceptive, and sensitive. All right. So I'm kind of curious to see once you do your survey and you start filling up these lines with the ones that you selected, I wonder which areas of communication style that you're going to fall under. Are you going to be an action-based person? Are you going to be processed? Are you going to be people? Or are you going to be idea? Once you get this survey done, you're going to go ahead and answer the essay questions, all right? And I say essay questions because you're just going to answer them, but you're not going to answer them in a bulleted format. You're just going to go ahead and just answer them just regular. Don't stay away from bullets if you can. On the instructions, you'll notice a little bit different. It's not where you're going to just hit reply. You're going to actually do it on a Microsoft Word, and then you're going to upload the file, which is a little bit different than what we've been doing so far this semester. So make sure you pay attention to that. The questions are pretty straightforward. One of the things that would be really neat for you to do, and it's not a requirement, but I think it would be really interesting, is if, let's say you selected a group and the group that you're going to talk about is somebody in your work group. What would be really interesting is to print up two of them and actually give somebody in your work group the same survey and say, hey, I'm with communication. Can you take this survey? And I'd be curious to kind of see what your style of communication is and if you compare it to theirs. What I do ask is that after you do the survey and learn about how you communicate, to kind of think about how that works with people who have different communication styles than you. If you want to go a little bit further, I would challenge you and encourage you to give the survey to somebody else in your group. Simply go to work and say, hey, be really interesting, boss, if you can do this survey, or maybe give it to your mom if you're doing your family group or your dad. That's not a requirement, but I think it would really make things interesting, and I think you would learn about how you interact. The purpose of this assignment is when I was teaching small group communication here on campus, and it would happen quite consistently where 1 out of every 5 groups were completely dysfunctional. And usually it was 2 people that had drastically different communication styles, and they would always butt heads. And I would always wonder, like, man, what's going on? Why are these people at each other's throat? And I gave the group the survey, and then the survey really helped me opened my eyes, and I think it helped open the individual's eyes of why there was so much conflict in the group. And that's because they failed to see that they had different communication styles. I had a person who was action, and action people, action oriented people, they're not bad people, but they're people who are like, hey, I don't really care about your feelings. Did you get this done? Did you get it done on time? Are you doing your fair share? And they weren't as sensitive about people. Then I had other people in the same group that were really, really people. They were warm, they were objective, they were all fuzzy, and they their feelings got hurt really easy, and they were very sensitive. So relationships and sensitivity was a part of their thing, and the other person was results driven, and it caused these two people to really kind of have it out because they didn't understand where they were coming from. And I think after I gave them the survey, that was a really good starting point because they understood what their needs were in communicating with each other. So I hope that you get the same thing out of this assignment. So do the survey. If you want to go above and beyond, give the survey to somebody else in your group. And then talk about the results. Answer the questions. Put it on a Microsoft Word. Make sure you watch your grammar, your spelling. Answer the questions honestly. And that's really the assignment in a nutshell. So I think you'll find it really interesting. If you have any questions, feel free to touch bases with me. Shoot me a message on Canvas, and I'll be happy to provide any additional instructions that you might need. All right. Have fun going at it. Bye-bye now.